This really is such a cool story um, because of the type of program that we were able to do for this first-time home buyer. And here's the cool thing is this was actually his second home that he bought, but it had been more than 3 years since he sold that home, and he's been renting for the last, I want to say, 4 years. Definition of a first-time home buyer is one who has not owned a primary residence in the last 3 years. So he actually qualified for this program, and it's a very unique program. It's through our Community Reinvestment Act, so it's a community reinvestment initiative, and it's really property specific. And I have a way of looking up various properties that are for sale to see if they fall into this specific zone. And it's a very particular zone of where these homes fall into. We've had some where literally we're talking 2 streets over, one home qualified and one home didn't. So it's not necessarily based by zip code or neighborhood or anything of that nature that you would think would be a little more simple, right? It's really very property specific. So we identified a property, and our borrower, our client, the buyer, made an offer on that property and secured it, got an accepted offer. So, well, because of the borrower's credit score and other criteria, if he were going to put 3% down on any other home that did not fall within this criteria for this community program, he would have had almost a full percent higher interest rate. It's 0.875, so 7/8 of a point higher in interest rate. Right, because of credit scores. So the way in the conventional loan world, conventional conforming, which is essentially loans that are backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, there's what I call risk adjustments. They're also known as loan level pricing adjustments. That's the technical term, but you don't need to remember that. We'll call them risk adjustments. So for every 20-point drop, for every incremental 20-point drop in credit score from a 760, you're going to see an increase in your rate. For simplicity's sake, we'll say 1/8 of a point, roughly. Could be 1/8 to 1/4% increase in your interest rate. So, for example, let's just say for easy math, today's going rate is 7%. If you're a 755, you might be looking at 7.125 to 7.25. If you are a 735, so you've gone from 760 below, so there's an adjustment. 760 to 740 is one adjustment. 740 to 720 is going to be another adjustment, and so on and so forth. So let's say they're a 725, 730. So you've got two adjustments there. That's going to be anywhere from, say, 1/4 to 1/2 a point increase in interest rate, and so on and so forth. So where his score was, the interest rate for him was going to be almost a point higher than the going rate, if you will. So there's a risk adjustment for putting only 3% down. So that by itself, even if you have a perfect credit score, if you're only putting 3% down, there's a little bit of an adjustment there. So he's got that adjustment compounded by the credit score adjustments. So you combine all those together, and it pushed his interest rate up almost a full point. Well, through this through this Community Reinvestment Act program, all of those risk adjustments go away. That's the beauty of it. It's amazing. And then to add to that, the mortgage insurance factor. So, you know, if you're putting less than 20% down, in most cases, there's going to be monthly mortgage insurance. Well, the less that you put down, so for every 5% incremental drop in down payment, so from 20 to 15% down, there's a certain mortgage insurance rate. from 15% to 10% down, there's another factor. So it kind of, the cost bumps up just a bit. And then from 10% to 5% down, it bumps up a little bit more. And then from 5% to 3% down, it bumps up one more time, if you will. So that's just one adjustment. And then just like the interest rate, mortgage insurance companies also adjust for credit scores. So he's already got the adjustments for putting, 20, 15, 10, 5, 3% down. So he's got all of those adjustments already factored into his mortgage insurance rate. Now you compound that, so you compound the low down payment plus the lower credit score, if you will, combine both of those, and that mortgage insurance rate jumps up quite a bit as well. So you could see where his monthly payment would climb just a bit in that scenario. However, again, through this community program that we have, all of those go away. So if the property falls into this particular zone and qualifies for the program, all of the interest rate adjustments go away and the mortgage insurance adjustments go away. So his mortgage insurance, the monthly mortgage insurance cost, was less than half of what it should have been. His interest rate was almost a full point lower than what it would have been had he not found this property, and we did the research and found that the property qualified for this program. So it was a huge win. His monthly payment was considerably less than I had originally estimated, because when I'm doing my preliminary estimates for a client, obviously we're working with a hypothetical property. We don't know where the property is going to be and if it'll qualify, and so I kind of had him prepared for a payment here, and it ended up being here per se. So it was just it was a huge win. Even the listing agent was excited that their listing fell within that zone for the Community Reinvestment Act. There it is again, easy for me to say, program. So the buyer of their home was getting a smoking deal. So they were really excited. Obviously, the agent that I partner with, who's absolutely amazing, she was really, really excited. And needless to say, the buyer, our client, the borrower, was just thrilled beyond belief. So this is a really, really cool program, and it turned out to be just an amazing experience.